Hello friends, welcome to the lecture series on digital electronics and microprocessor. In the previous lectures, we have gone through the basic prerequisites for this subject, wherein we have covered the different logic gates, basic and derived gates, difference between them, Boolean expressions associated with them, their symbols and truth tables. Further, we have covered the part of Boolean algebra rules, axioms, and the theorems those are involved in the Boolean algebra. And we have also covered the part of numbering systems, their interconversion method, along with the examples based on them. Now, from this lecture, we are starting with the content of the digital electronics and microprocessor. And to start with that, here we are starting with the basic outcomes which are designed for this subject. And those outcomes tells us that when the student will complete this course, they will be able to have the concepts of digital circuits and the design combinational logic and implement those circuits. Then the students will able to apply various Boolean expression reduction techniques to minimize the amount of hardware for the circuit implementation. Also, the students will able to demonstrate the logical skills, debugging skills in designing small digital circuits which are needed in the industrial application. So, as far as the digital electronics part of this subject is concerned, these are the major outcomes which are given by the students. Wherein, as content wise, we are going to see as a first unit of this subject the various combinational logic circuits as like the adder, subtractor, look ahead carry adder, parity bit generator, comparator, mux, demux, decoders, and the ALU design we are going to see. And for each of that, how to apply the Boolean function equations, the terminology of getting the reduction of the Boolean equation using the K-maps. These all things will be discussed in first unit named as a combinational logic. While as a second unit, we are shifting towards the sequential logic which is involved in this part of the digital electronic circuits, and that sequential logic starts from 1 bit memory cell. Again, it will be going towards the latches, which are a temporary memory. In the latches, again, we are having clocked latches or simple latches. Then flip-flops, the conversion of these flip-flops, and while converting these flip-flops, how the state machine is playing an important role related to that, drawing the state diagram and doing the state reduction are the agenda for this particular unit. Finally, in the third chapter or third unit of this digital part of a subject, we are moving towards the concept of shift register, universal shift registers, counters, wherein we are going to see the synchronous and asynchronous counters both, ring counter, Johnson counter, and the types of memories involved, which are ROM, RAM, EEPROM, and EEPROMs, etc. So, dear friends, to start with these content, we are moving further with the basics of combinational logic circuits. So, friends, at the end of this session, basically, you people will understand what is the terms like Boolean expression, truth table, how to get the conversion from the present and the standard canonical forms of the Boolean expressions, minimizing the Boolean expressions by applying the Boolean algebra, etc. To start with, here why we have to go for Boolean expression? What is the meaning of Boolean expression? Because whenever we are saying that a digital device or a digital circuit of computer operates on different logical operations, and these logical operations are expressed in terms of Boolean operations on these logical circuits. And here in this part we are using the part of a ANDing, ORing and NOT gates for defining these all logical operations. As mentioned in the part of a basic and derived gates, these are giving the logical operation statements in form of Boolean expression. And that's why any logic function or a compound statement of a digital circuit will be represented in two analogous ways. One is said to be Boolean expression, where this Boolean expression is nothing but a logical function of finite number of variables, and that is not unique one, because as the number of variable combinations are going to change, these Boolean expressions may be going to change, and that's why they are non-unique one. While the truth table is nothing but a combination of number of input variable combinations with their respective output. Once your circuit is defined, number of inputs will be get defined, and corresponding to that input combination, output is also defined one. And so here we are stating that truth table is unique and finite one. So we will start with the first Boolean expression, which is consisting of three variables x, y and z. But if I am seeing the statement or expression written over here, I am finding out that it is involving the three terms, but these three terms will not be having individual presence of all of the terms. So I can say in short here the f letter indicates the function of, and inside the bracket we are mentioning the variables for which the function we are writing. So these variables are termed to be the input variables, and these terms which are written in terms of a ORing part or ending of the variables, they will be named as literal. And literals are nothing but occurrence of an input variable or its complement into that term writing for the Boolean expression. Now, you may say that in this particular expression, we are having the presence of ORing operation, the inversion operations, and again the ANDing has to be distributed. That's why whenever such like this complex expression is there, we have to define the precedences for the different logical operations. And these precedences for the logical operations will be definitely given by mentioning the parentheses for those literals. Here, in this same expression, by giving the parenthesis presence, the precedences have been mentioned. And while giving the precedence, always the operation of complement or not is having highest precedence. After the complementing, the ending operation will be having the precedence, and then we are having the precedence for the ORing operations. But in this particular expression, after having this NOT operations to be performed, the ORing has to be carried out, because here originally the parenthesis is present, and once this ORing will get completed, then its result has to be get ANDed with Z. This is what the meaning of the extra parentheses that have been placed over here in this expression. Now we will go to the second part of presentation, that is truth table. So as I mentioned earlier, truth table is a collection of all possible inputs and corresponding output of the function. But let me clear you friends, the input variables will be always the digital variables only. That means they will take value as either 1 or 0. If suppose I am having three variables for any function, then I can calculate 2 raised to 3, that is 2 raised to n, as a number of possible input combinations. So if I am having 3 input variables, I may find out 8 number of possible input combinations for that variable. So let me present you that how to get that calculation of input and input combination with respect to the output variable definition. So to give the output variable definition, we will need this Boolean expression which is mentioned like here. So in this, if suppose for these three inputs, the first combination I am taking as a 0, 0, 0, then by placing here the values from this input combination, from this expression, we are going to get the output variable as 1. In the same way, I will take the next combination of an input. I will calculate the value of this function by using this expression and get the output variable to be calculated. This is what the whole calculation which is done for 8 number of possible combinations of input for these three variables of Boolean expression. So finally, the truth table what we will get will be consisting of these 8 number of possible input combinations, and corresponding to each input combination, the output variable value that has got calculated as shown in this particular presentation. Now friends, I think it is very clear to you what is mean by the Boolean expression and the truth table. Now the questions comes into mind how I should get the expressions to be converted into circuits, because for any logic implementation the circuit is a major part which is doing the task of that operation, and for that friends the logic gates are going to help us. So let's see the concept of how to get the conversion of expressions, that is Boolean expressions, into circuits. Again we will take the same Boolean expression what we have seen in the previous slide, that is x OR with y complement ANDed with z OR with x complement. So in this particular part, we will have, let's check out which logic gates are present. So this is one ORing gate. Here is another ORing gate. Next we are having this as a ANDing gate, this as a complement, and this also as another complement. So we will go one by one for the gate inputs and outputs to be specified. Let's check for this OR gate. So for this OR gate, I will have two inputs as a x and y complement. But this y complement is to be obtained from an input y using the NOT gate. So this OR will be giving out the output which is presented by this bracket. Now, along with this output from the OR gate, Z is the input for the next ANDing gate. So once the ANDing of these two variables will happen, this resultant of ANDing has to be ORed with X complement. So this is the input, one of the input to the second OR gate, where another input is obtained by giving the inversion operation of this X, and finally we are going to get the implementation of our this circuit. But let me tell you friends, here even though the terms are less or the number of literals are less in the expression, the number of gates that we are going to use are more in number. And when such like condition will happen, at that time we are going to get the complexity in implementation of the circuit. And there Boolean algebra laws will help us to reduce this complexity of the circuit implementation. Every binary system is going to work upon this Boolean algebra. But never get confused between the Boolean algebra and the regular algebra that we are using in our mathematics subject, because the basic differences between the Boolean and regular algebra are listed over here. The first major difference is always the Boolean algebra is going to work on only two values, and those are zeros and ones. Then Boolean algebra consists of the complementing operation which is not present into the regular algebra part. And never get the mistake to be done for ORing operation to be considered as addition operation from the regular algebra. So these are the three major factors which separates the Boolean algebra from the regular algebra. Now I told you that the laws of algebra are going to help us to get the simplification of expression or to reduce the number of gates into the implementation of that Boolean expression. So let's check out how the number of gates will be reduced by application of the laws of algebra. So again we will take one example of the original expression, which is nothing but x dash y dash ORed with xyz ORed with x dash y. Now let's combine the two terms of x dash y dash ORed with x dash y and take this x dash term common. When it will happen in bracket, we are remained with the ORing operation of y variable with its complement. And we know by the result that this ORing operation with its complement value will be always 1. So this term will basically get reduced as an ANDing operation of 1 with x dash, and it results in x dash only, while this third term will be carried forwarded as it is. Now in the next part, what we are going to do is we are going to distribute this ORing operation on the ANDing operation. And for that ANDing operation, we are considering the terms as x and yz. So here the ORing will get distributed of x dash term with x, and x dash term ORing will be distributed on yz. So we will find out these two brackets due to the distribution law to be applied. Again, as like this reduction, original term ORed with complement of it reduces to 1, and finally we will be remained with the expression of x dash ORed with yz. Now here we are having the original circuit of logic gate implementation for the given expression, wherein we can see there will be the presence of two NOT gates, three AND gates, and a single OR gate. While due to this Boolean algebra application, this same expression can be implemented by using only single NOT gate, AND gate, and OR gate. This is how the Boolean algebra helps us to simplify the given expressions. And this will lead us to the advantages of getting the cost of building the circuit will be reduced, as the number of ICs involved will be less, the power required for that circuit will be also less, but For this, we have to do some work to find out the second form as like this reduction that we have carried out. But we are getting more economical circuit building by application of this Boolean algebra laws. Now there is one another technique in which we are going to write these functions with the help of complement in the truth table itself. Now, if suppose I am exchanging the outputs 0 where the original function outputted 1 and 1 where the original output has produced the output as zeros. So let's check. For getting the complement of a function, there are the two basic methods. Directly in a truth table, we are replacing the outputs with zeros with ones and ones with zeros. Or we can have the complementing operation to be implemented algebraically. So here the truth table function is very easy, where you can see that originally for upper four terms the output was 1, where in the complement form of that function that has been replaced by 0. Now for next two term output was 0, that has been replaced by complement of it as 1. Again it was 1, that has been replaced by 0, and 0 has been replaced by 1 finally. This is how by using truth table, simply by replacing 1 to 0 and 0 to 1, we can get the complement to be obtained. Now, the other method is calculating the complement of that function itself. So here, let's say the given function is like this as x ended with y dash z dash or with yz. Now, when I am calculating the complement of it, OR will be replaced with the ANDing operation and the AND operation will be replaced by the ORing operations. So here first we will apply that outside the bracket. So complement of x will be calculated as x dash. After that here ANDing operation is there. ANDing will be complemented by ORing operation. Now we are treating this whole bracket as a term and we are keeping this bracket as a term itself and making its complement head. Now we are keeping this outer part as it is and on this bracket we are applying the complementing rule. And because of that we will find that this y dash z dash complement will be appearing and this ORing operation will get converted to ANDing operation and on this YZ also the complementing operation will happen. And finally this X dash and ORing will be carry forwarded. Y dash complement again will be calculated as Y. This ANDing will be complemented as OR. Z dash complement will be Z. Then for this bracket complement will get calculated. So it will be y dash, ANDing will be replaced by ORing, z will be replaced by z dash. But please take a note that here we are not having the operation of complementing for this whole bracket. For individual brackets, the application of complementing is there. That's why this ANDing process has not been changed between these two brackets. So here you might have noticed now that while doing this complementing operations, we have used the De Morgan's law that we have seen in the previous lecture. Now, there is one another third method for calculating the complement of a function, which is called as taking the dual of the function. Now, what is this concept of dual? Again consider one three variable Boolean function given as x ANDed with y dash z dash plus yz. Now, if I am talking about the dual of that function, everywhere the operation dual has to be done. That means ANDing operation is to be replaced by ORing and ORing operation has to be replaced by ANDing. But the variables are to be kept initially same. So here what we will do is x, after that x here ANDing operation was there. So dual of AND is OR, so it is replaced by ORing. Then we are keeping y dash and z dash as it is, but these two variables are related with ANDing operation. The dual of ANDing operation is ORing, so it is replaced with ORing. Then ORing is there, so ORing will be replaced by ANDing operation. YZ, that means these two variables are ANDed, so ANDing is replaced by ORing. After doing this dual operations placement for the operations only, we will complement each of the literal which is given in this function. That means x will be replaced by its complement as x dash, y will be replaced by its complement as y, z dash will be replaced by z, y will be replaced by y dash, and z will be again replaced by z dash. So let's check out that in this particular method of complementing the function algebraically and getting the dual function implementation, we have got the same complement value. Please take a note of that. So I can say in short that for complementing of a function, we have the three different types. One is by using the truth table, second one is complementing algebraically, and third one is taking the dual of the function. So here the next part of our lecture is the standard form and canonical forms of the Boolean expression. So standard form of a Boolean expression consists of sum of products, that is SOP, and product of sum, that is POS. So sum of products are the only OR operations at the outermost level are seen, and each term that is summed must be a product of literals. Now you know the friends, literals are nothing but either the original variable or complement of it. So in this, the advantage that we are going to see is always this SOP will represent the two level circuit, where we can see the number of variables or the literals will be mentioned at the 0th level of the circuit. At the first level of the circuit, always the presence of AND gates will be there, and at the second level of the circuit implementation, OR gate will be present. So let's see that this particular expression is having this variable mentioning as a 0th level, AND gate presence as a first level, and OR gate presence as a second level. So we are saying that sum of products are implemented by using the two level circuits. Now, canonical forms will be the special cases of sum of products or product of sums. In sum of product or product of sum form, all individual terms do not involve all literals. What is meaning of this? Let's check this Boolean expression. In this Boolean expression, we are having two terms which are involved. One is AB and another one is A dash BC. So as like this, in the given Boolean function, there may be number of terms which are involved, but in each of that term, every individual literal will not be present. What I mean is, let's check this first term as AB. Definitely in this term we can't see the presence of third variable either in original form or in complemented form, that is C or C dash. So in if each term in the SOP or POS contains all the expression, all the literals, then that expression is known as standard or canonical form. So here when each individual term is present in the POS form, it is called as max term. And each individual term is present in SOP form, that is sum of product form, it will be called as a mean term. So in mean term, we look for the functions where the outputs will result as a 1. And in max term, we will look for the function where the output results as 0. So in short, we can say that sum of the mean terms is called as sum of products, and product of max terms is called as product of sum. So here the relationship between the standard form of a Boolean expression and canonical form of a Boolean expression has been expressed out. So let's check how we can get the conversion of standard given sum of product to the standard sum of product form. So the first step for that is we have to find out which literal is missing in each product term. Once we have found that missing literal, we have to get the ORing operation of that literal and its complement to be written. Then we have to apply and give their distributive law and reorder the literals. Reduce that repeated product terms, if any, are occurring in this expansion that we are going to do out. Let's check this with one example. So let's see that this sum of product form has been given. Here ORing, but for ORing we are using this ending terms. So I am saying this is a sum of product, but it is not a standard sum of product. Why? Because if I am saying in first term C is missing, in second term A is missing, and in third term B is going to miss out. So here we have mentioned that literal C is missing, literal A is missing, and literal B is missing. So as per our first step, in each individual term, which literal is missing, that we have found out. Then in the second step, we are replacing the ORing operation of the missing term and its complement with the ending value with the original terms, those are present. So here C was missing. So in bracket we have written ORing operation of C and its complement and ended it with original term that is present. Here A ORed with A dash is ended with BC, and similarly B ORed with B dash is ended with AC. So missing literal and their complements which have been OR will be ended with the terms present in the given expression. Then we have to expand these terms by application of distribution law and get the reordering of the terms to be done. So we have written here ABC, ABC dash, BCA. BCA is nothing but ABC itself. That reordering we have done. Here it is A dash BC, then again ABC, then AB dash C. Now the terms which are repeated, those we are going to omit. So let's check. Here in this expression we are having three times this ABC has got repeated. So instead of that we will write that as only one term, because we know the result that when variable is odd with the same variable, result is variable. Again that same variable of ABC will be odd with this ABC, so result is ABC. The remaining terms we are taking as it is in this expression. Similarly, when we are converting the product of sum to the standard product of sum, so the first step is same, that is we have to find out the missing literal in each of the sum term. Let's check out that in given expression, here Instead of the product terms, the individual terms are now the ORing terms, that is sum terms, that is a plus b, b plus c and a plus c again. And ANDing of those has happened. While in SOP, at the second level, we were having the ORing operation. Now, after finding out the missing literal for each of these terms, as mentioned like here, we have to go for second step. And that second step says that we have to carry out the ORing with the original terms present for ANDing operation of the missing literals with its complement. While in previous case, if you have seen, there we were doing the ORing operation of the missing literal with its complement and ANDing it with the original expression. So please note this difference when we are converting the POS to standard POS and the SOP to the standard SOP. So here in this step, we are finding this A ORed with B is now ORed with the missing literal multiplication with its complement. Then second term, that is B ORed with C, it will be now ORed with A ANDed with A complement. Then this ORing operation, that is ANDing, should get complemented with ORing operation. A plus C is taken as it is. B term is missing. So B and its complement ANDing will be ORed with this. Now please take a note for this again, that here we are replacing this ANDing as an ANDing operation itself. Here ORing is also kept constant. But if you are observing in this particular process, here this ORing, this ANDing has been replaced by ORing, because here we have written that its complement and literal has to be get complemented. So then in the next step, we have to expand the terms and get the reordering to be done. So here this A plus B will be get distributed on this C ANDed with C dash. So first term will be A plus B plus C. Then this ANDing will present. Then this ORing will get distributed on C dash. Similarly here, this B plus C will be get distributed on A. So it is reordered. It is written as A plus B plus C. Here it is A dash plus B plus C. Similarly here A plus B will be distributed over B and B dash, and reordering of the literals will happen. In the last step, the repeated sum terms again we have to get omitted. So the red marked terms are the repeated terms. So instead of those all repeated terms, we are writing a single term as A plus B plus C. A plus B plus C dash we are extracting as it is, and the remaining two brackets also we are extracting as it is. So this is a way how we can convert the given SOP to the standard SOP, and similarly given POS to the standard POS. Now what is the mean term? How to represent the mean term? So mean terms are nothing but the ANDing terms with every variable present either in true or complemented form. So here this is a given Boolean expression which is a function of A, B, C. And as we have said, mean terms are nothing but the AND terms where every individual literal either in original form or in complemented form has to be present. So here we can see that A dash, B dash, C dash is present. Now A dash, B dash, C dash, if we are putting that into the truth table, we are marking for the mean terms as 0, 0, 0. So this will be termed as a first mean term into the given truth table. Then 001 will be marked as a first mean term. 010 will be marked as a second mean term, and so on. That means here we will find out 2 raised to n number of mean terms which are possible based on n number of variables for that given function. So if n variable for this particular function is 3, definitely 2 raised to 3, that is 8 number of mean terms are possible. Now, how to get the mean terms presence, how to represent that in the equation, that we will see with the help of these examples. So here the function is of 3 variables. So definitely we will have presence of 8 possible number of mean terms. Let's check the first term, a dash b dash c dash. So it is similar to 0 0 0. So it is a 0th mean term. Then a dash b c dash, that is 0 1 0. So 0 1 0 is a second mean term from this truth table. So it is M2. Then a dash bc, which means 0 1 1. So 0 1 1 is a third mean term. So it is M3. Then ABC, which is equivalent to 1 1 1. So it is a seventh mean term present over here. So to write the mean term, generally the summation sign will be used. Along with that summation, a small letter m will be used, and then 0, 2, 3 and 7, and if any other terms are there, those will be mentioned by separating them with comma. Let's check for another example. Again, it is a function of 3 variables, a dash b dash c. So it is 0 0 1. 0 0 1 is first mean term. It is a dash bc, so 0 1 1. So 0 1 1 is a third mean term. A b dash c is 1 0 1. 1 0 1 is fifth mean term, and ABC is seventh. So it will be written as summation small m 1 3 5 7. So let's try for this remaining Boolean expression that has been mentioned over here. Now we will go towards the max term. So max terms are nothing but now OR terms with every variable in true or complemented form. So let's check the difference. Mean terms are always AND terms and max terms are always OR terms. But with respect to the standard form, in this canonical form, the difference is that for each and every individual term, every literal has to be present. So, given that each variable may appear normal or complemented, so there will be again 2 raised to n number of max terms for n number of variables will be given. So, let's see the difference now. Here for the mean terms, the terms which are ending, those are to be odd, while writing the max terms, the terms of ORing values will be ended. So it is what? The product of sums, while this will be nothing but sum of products. But for each of the term, individual literals either in original form or in complemented form will be present. Again, one another difference for mean terms and max terms is there. For the representation of mean terms, summation will be used, while for presentation of max terms, pi sign will be used. Again, for mean terms, small m will be used for indication. For max terms, capital M will be used for presentation. Now, one another major difference for the mean terms and max terms in case of truth table is going to happen. And that's what we are going to now notify. Here, if a dash b dash c dash is there for mean term, we are referring that as 0 0 0. But this 0 0 0 is representing the zeroth max term. That is, if it is having a plus b plus c, then we are telling that it is a zeroth max term. And this is obtained by getting the complement of this variable as a dash b dash c dash, which is a mean term for 0 0 0 representation. So in short, we can say that max terms are the complements of mean terms. Let's check. If this a dash b dash c dash complement I am going to take, what will happen? A dash complement is a, ending complement will be oring, b's complement is b, ending complement will be or, and c dash complement will be c. So here that is the term. So in short, for this term of a dash b dash c dash, which is a mean term, the max term will be a odd with b odd with c. Similarly, here we are having a b dash c. So we have to look for now the complement values over here, which is 0, 1, 0. So 0, 1, 0 in this represents the second max term. So here the second max term is present. Then complement of these values we have to look for in the truth table. That is this as a 0, 1, 1. So 0, 1, 1 is nothing but the third max term. Similarly, if I will go for last term, it will be seventh max term. So in bracket, it is represented as 0, 2, 3, 7. And again, in the same way, we can check out for these two functions. So friends, here we will stop today in this session. Thank you.